watching closely?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Underrated Podcast. This is a brand new podcast where we discuss the films we feel are underrated or perhaps underappreciated, or even ones that have just slipped under the radar and passed most people by. The show is a collaboration of us friends here, including Alan and Fred Torres.
What's up?
And Ariel Ortiz.
Hello.
And I am Derek McDuff, and together we are the Undercast Company. Today we're going to be talking about The Prestige, a 2006 film directed by Christopher Nolan, based off a novel by Christopher Priest. The film stars Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, along with David Bowie, Scarlett Johansson, Michael Caine, Rebecca Hall, and Andy Serkis. Compared to the rest of Andy Serkis?
Circus.
The
circus.
Andy Serkis.
Caesar? Yo, he's a fucking monkey dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a
there you
joke.
go.
Oh wait, he was also in Black Panther, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, compared to the rest of Christopher Nolan's filmography, The Prestige is relatively unknown, only making $110 million at the box office, his lowest total for a non-independent film, while also scoring his second lowest Rotten Tomatoes score with 75%. So something I want to say, there's a lot of really, really cool foreshadowing that Christopher Nolan does in this movie about them being twins and how, like, are you watching closely? And he basically gives you all of these hints that you don't really see, and that's kind of the whole thing. Like, magic is like filmmaking. It's a 3-act structure. He keeps going over how there's the pledge, the turn, and the prestige in every magic trick, just like a 3-act structure of a movie. And the magician will show you something, and the movie starts off with, are you watching closely? And
Michael Caine performing this trick of
about a bird.
In a
And they even like pretty much tell you, like, there's a scene in the middle of the movie where they explain the bird trick, where there's a bird that gets put in a cage, the cage kind of gets crumpled and disappears, and then the bird comes back. And there's a scene, it's the first scene, he meets his wife, and I keep saying his name wrong, Borden meets his wife, and she's there with her nephew, and he starts crying once the bird, like the cage gets flattened, and then he brings it back, and they're like, oh, look, he's back, and he says, where's his brother, though? Hinting at, that the twins, the way that he makes it disappear and come back, that's exactly the same thing, they're brothers. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of really interesting, clever foreshadowing like that throughout the film.
Yeah, no, that movie was bullshit. And I'm gonna go like this. Alright. So the movie's good, and it's exciting, and it keeps you enthralled. But here's the thing. So like most movies, you got your good guy, you got your bad guy, right? And this movie almost gives you that, in a way, by making you feel for Hugh Jackman, whose wife passes away, right? But then you got Christian Bale, who's all of a sudden got this fucking fancy life of a wife and kids and all this shit. And you're like, no, that's bullshit. One of them deserves to die. Now, at first you don't realize that it's two people. But you start to think like, no, Hugh Jackman is right to have the feelings that he has, that he's going after Christian Bale, and he deserves to lose his life.
Well, that's what I like about it, is that it doesn't have, like, it's not a traditional, like, good guy, bad guy.
No, and I get it. No, but at first you're not supposed to realize that, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going off of, you're not supposed to know that until the end of the movie, right? Mm-hmm. But this is where I go, this is how you twist my feelings, and I don't like that. Because I go throughout this movie thinking, like, no, this man deserves something more than just, he gets a happy wife, a happy life, and all this shit. But when you come to realize that, no, it's two brothers, that the guy that they hung most likely was the one that did the knot. Because he's the one.
He's not most likely.
I know. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, in your head, you're like, could he not been? Because obviously the other one who fell in love, he doesn't know.
He was, because they say that the one who died was the one that was in love with the mistress.
Yeah.
Which is the same one that slipped the knot.
No, and I get it, but still, I go, fucking both, they both deserve to die.
Both brothers?
They both deserve to die and burn in hell.
No, not the brother that
they both do, because this is how I see it. Okay? They were both in on it the whole fucking time. So even if you want to go with, like, a sense of justice or whatever, or, oh, no, because the other guy wasn't... No, he was complicit in the fucking act that was going on. He knew what happened. He could have told him, hey, dude, this is what happened. But they never say it.
No, he does. He tries to get the truth from his... He says... There's a whole things about talking about how he's arguing with himself, which you think is just like,
Yeah.
the moment, you're like, okay, he's like, doesn't
Yeah,
know what he's
exactly.
doing. But he's literally arguing with the other side of himself.
Yeah. No, I get it, but still,
No, but
they both deserve.
he thinks,
obviously, but this is, in my opinion, they both deserve.
but he doesn't know that he tied the wrong knot. He's
no,
like,
he doesn't know when he asked him. Obviously, when he goes, "Did you tie it?" With a guy who says, "Well, I don't know. I think I did it right."
no, the other guy says, no, I did the right knot, but he's like, no, this guy's lying. So you're saying he destroys his whole life, this whole double life that he has, just to tell Hugh Jackman the truth?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Because I have to assume that both brothers know what happened, right? Even though
even
though
they make a point of that.
Even though he did,
the quote unquote good brother,
right? The good brother's gonna think, no, the other brother did the right thing.
Maybe the other brother didn't
Right.
tell him.
No.
Yeah, they say no. They say the other brother definitely said I didn't tie that knot. They make a point of
I know he said he didn't tie the knot. I get the fact. Like I'm saying, I'm not arguing the point that one brother knew, one brother no. I'm saying the one brother had to have known that his other brother tied the wrong knot.
Yeah.
He didn't tie it, but he had to know his brother did.
So what obviously, did he do?
Obviously, he's not gonna break the lie, right? Because of whatever reason. Okay, but he could have.
Okay, well, so
obviously because this is a movie, but I'm just saying. Yeah. And I'm just going with my logic. They both deserve to fucking die, and that's not going to change my idea.
Okay, so what? Well, they both deserve to die, but
no, they both deserve to die. But I'm saying
I don't think they do. But
no, okay. Here's my thing, because then he goes off to kill Hugh Jackman. Yeah, I get it. Revenge for the brother that died.
He's there to raise his daughter.
No. I get it. They could have done. The movie's the way the movie is. I'm just giving you my opinion, and my opinion is still the motherfucker deserves to die. Because at the end, they still took everything from Hugh Jackman. Both of them did. They took his life, and they took his wife's life at the end.
But here's the thing: Hugh Jackman could have lived happily ever after.
I know, I was on.
I'm with Scarlett Johansson. He sends her away because he's so obsessed with the secret and so obsessed with.
The whole thing is his whole plot is revenge.
Yeah,
he wants to take.
He becomes obsessed with revenge more than his own happiness.
Exactly.
He even says, "I don't care about my wife."
Just like the other
listen. He says, "I don't even care about my wife. I care about his secret." He cares more about hurting him than his own
I get it
happiness.
at that point, but still, not going to change the fact they both deserve to die at the end because he still goes and kills Hugh Jackman, right? So this is still not going to change my idea. I'm saying
he kills Hugh Jackman because Hugh Jackman
is
a manipulative murderer.
He's trying to take it, just like the brother was. In my eyes, I obviously look. We can have this argument all night.
Right, whether or not he was, I don't think that harms the movie.
No. I'm not saying that it doesn't. It doesn't. What I'm trying to say is, obviously, my opinion. My opinion is they both deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. Right? Because I'm going the way they did.
You think that makes it a bad movie though?
No, I didn't say. I said it was a good movie. Okay. I said I just don't like the twist that they bring out.
Oh, I love the twist
because I said the way it makes me. And that's what I'm saying. But this is where the argument's going. I don't like that. I see if he would have somehow happened where the Hugh Jackman dies right on his own, where the good brother wouldn't have killed him, where the good brother.
I think calling him the good brother, bad brother is like.
Well, no, because that's how I saw it. Like,
I don't think one of them is supposed to be like kind of more obsessed and one of them is less obsessed. But I don't think he's. Like,
no, I'm just saying because one of the
guy
was a little bit more of a family man.
Yeah.
He had a little bit more sense of justice. That's what I'm saying. Because he even told his brother, like, don't go after this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do it. And he went after it. That's why when they're doing that talk, that's why I'm saying the one who was a little bit more centered. If he wouldn't have killed Hugh Jackman, if Hugh Jackman would have died,
then he can't get his daughter back.
I'm just.
He does it to get his daughter back.
Obviously, logically, I know how the movie ends. What I'm saying is, if it would have played out in a different way, I'm saying my feelings would have played out a little differently at the end. I would have been like, I get it, he got his daughter back a certain way. Hugh Jackman can fade out however it fades out. But in the sense I'm saying, he goes and physically kills him, and I get it, you're going to have to get your daughter back. I completely get it. Don't get me wrong, I understand how it's going. But what I'm saying is, I don't like the fact that there was a lot of revenge in this movie. There was a lot
That's the whole point of the movie.
Exactly. And then when he gets it back, and I see it, but I still saw that at the end, the guys that started this whole mess, one of them gets to walk away happy.
I don't think that
because if the wife would have never died, let's be real. If the wife would have never died, then this whole movie wouldn't have been about revenge. Because nobody would have cared, right? Because it was all about revenge.
That's what it would happen.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, my feeling at the end of it was like, I didn't want to see Christian Bale. Obviously, like I said, the twist ending is cool. I just saying I didn't want the movie ended the way it ends because that's the way the movie is, and I get it. I'm just saying I personally would have not liked to see Christian Bale, the other brother even, walk away with his happy ending. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying, but I completely disagree.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what we can disagree, but like you come in.
Like
everybody can say their own opinion, but I'm saying, you know, when it was my shot to explain myself, this is what I'm explaining.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to convince anybody anything different. I just also don't need anybody to try to convince me anything different.
No. Yeah.
I'm just trying to shoot out my end, and like I'm saying, if it somehow would have worked out that Christian Bale got his daughter in a different way instead of shooting him, and they both would have kind of ended up differently, I could have been like, all right, cool, I see everybody, you know, the one that deserves it got it in the end. Everybody got
the
their
two
end.
who were obsessed with like revenge.
No.
But I see where he's coming from because it is basically. It still is an eye for an eye.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying like, it's still.
So it's kind of like while it ends like in a way where you get a happy ending, it's still like
it's not. I don't think it's a happy ending.
Well, kind of. You get like at what cost, kind of. It's but then that's what that for me. Yeah, that's the whole point. But
no, I get it. I'm just saying like
you get it's frustration
that I go.
For
the
me,
eye for the eye never changed.
Yeah.
Nobody learned any fucking lessons at the end. The fucking guy, the guy who's the magic guy, just all he's gonna do is maybe lose his career, maybe even that, or he could just come out as a magician somewhere else.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
He can't do his great trick anymore.
Well,
he can't do a lot of tricks because he has one.
But there's other tricks or whatever. Or however it may go, we don't know because it ends at that point.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, one of them gets to walk away.
I think that's the best way it could have ended.
No, and then like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion on this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, obviously, mine's not going to change.
Yeah.
And I never said it wasn't a bad movie. I would recommend this movie to people to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, but I'm just giving my opinion at the end of what I saw.
Yeah.
Where I was like, hey, that just, to me, it left a sour somewhat taste in my mouth a little.
And I definitely understand where you're coming from for the sourness.
Yeah,
and
that's something.
Yeah, like seeing it at your, it's just different ways of seeing it.
Exactly. And I know, like I said, the movie's really good. It had me enthralled the whole time. I watched the whole thing. It was fucking great. It's a great fucking movie. I'm just saying, the ending was the part where I was like, nah. I could have had it a little differently, or something could have happened.
I want to change one thing.
No, I get it. I'm just saying.
But I know what you're saying. Alan, what do you think?
I think what the whole point of this whole thing is, I think what you're trying to say is that it's a movie that's powerful, that it's emotionally frustrating, it's emotionally driven. So I guess what you're trying to say is that it left you feeling that way, but that's why it's a good movie. Because
No. And like I said, I'm not saying it's not a good movie.
We know.
That's also what makes a really good movie is that it entices different feelings.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say for him is that
you
feel strongly about the way it was because it is a good movie and you feel that it's a good movie, and that's what makes it great is that everybody feels their own way about it. Because you want films to make you feel certain ways.
And then for the fact that it's a movie that is kind of like, I mean, it is a structured, like, scripted movie, but it to still have an effect of, like, where it gets a different feeling from individual people, even though, you know, you wouldn't expect that. Like, I wouldn't have expected him to come up with that. It's like, it actually makes it a better movie.
Yeah, because because it's told in a certain way, it also makes you feel a certain way. Like, oh, okay, some people are gonna have different perspectives on it. I didn't find it that emotionally powerful to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just more like enjoyed the rivalry. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the twists. I for me though, like I've always been into magic and stuff. Like I used to try and do magic when I was younger. So when like seeing two rivals go at it, I thought it was pretty cool and interesting, and I liked how it kind of went into this really weird aspect with the Tesla machine and all that.
And I like how they touch on Tesla's rivalry with Edison and how that basically destroys Tesla too. Even though Tesla's, doesn't really do anything wrong, his obsession and rivalry ends up destroying him.
And then in a way, if you think about it, Hugh Jackman got killed, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. I think it was trying to mirror Tesla's own relationship and rivalry between Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parallels to different things. Like, I mean, like this movie is like filled with like the subtle, like not just clues, but like elements of like parallelism to like what the main story is. Like, aside from like the bird trick and from the beginning to the end and the description of like the different steps of a trick and things like that, where it allows you to have multiple viewings of this movie and still enjoy it and still be entertained because you're like, oh, that's what this means, that's what that means, and it's a movie that allows you to have continuous.
And that's another good thing.
Yeah.
Movies that require multiple viewings are always good.
And I think this is like all of Christopher Nolan's movies are movies that I think benefit from a second viewing. But this one, more than any movie I've ever seen, is a movie that you should watch more than once.
At least.
Like it's a movie that as soon as you're done with it, you need to go back and rewatch it because there's some movies like Inception or Fight Club or something. When you go back, you know some things about it. You can kind of view this differently. This one, when you know the twist at the end, everything is different. Like everything makes sense. You're like you can even go back and rewatch it and tell which character Christian Bale is playing in which scene, which brother, because he acts. His performance is amazing because he acts completely differently as the separate brother. And there'll be scenes where like he'll be talking to Fallon. And then he'll like there's a scene where he's like yelling at Fallon, "Why haven't you found out this trick?" And then it'll cut to him again, just being like, "Okay, you know what? Let him have his trick." And you think at first, "Oh, that's just him changing his mind, being undecisive." But no, that's him yelling at his other brother disguised as Fallon. Then that brother takes off the Fallon makeup and says, "You know what? No, I went there. Let him have his trick. It's not worth it." And there's a lot of stuff like that. Like even the stuff where
that's also what plays into his wife killing herself.
Yeah.
That because
he's seemingly dual.
Yeah, because he never lets her know that this is a trick that there's a twin that.
But she figures it out, and she's yelling at him, I know, and you think at the moment, oh, she knows about the affair. No, what she knows about is that there's two of him, and that she can't live like that, and she's going to go tell Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson can't eat her.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm too afraid to find out what it was. And and I got that. Yeah. And that's why I was like, oh man, that's so powerful that she killed herself because of it. Mm-hmm. And all he had to do was, she just wanted him to be honest. Yeah. Be honest with me and tell me, I can't tell you what my trick is, I can't tell you what my trick is, this and that. And then she finally has it. Goes, you know what? I'm going to kill myself in your workshop.
Yeah.
And then that's where she hangs herself. And when she was going to tell Scarlett Johansson, this is what's going on with these guys. They're two dudes that live in the same life. And we're both just stuck in the middle of this.
Yeah, and it's really tragic because you'll see the scenes where like there's that scene where right before she kills herself, where he's shouting, they're like yelling at each other, and you can tell that's the one who and that's the one who doesn't love her.
Me today.
Yeah, and he says no, and then at the same time Fallon is kind of like taking the daughter away, and you're kind of like, okay, it's weird how much he likes Fallon because like in the scene before that, like he says, oh, I'll take you to the zoo, and he says, hey Fallon, can you take her to the zoo? And you're like, that's weird. Why are you pulling her off from Fallon? That makes sense now. And then, you see Fallon kind of put his hands over her ears so she doesn't hear the arguing and take her away. It's because that's not just some dude, that's her literal father. Really just, it's a movie that just mind-fucks me over every time that I watch it. And I love rewatching this movie because I feel like I catch something different every time. I'm always like watching Christian Bale, like, okay, is he the one that loves Rebecca Hall or is he the one that loves Scarlett Johansson in this scene? And just, also, Hugh Jackman does a good job playing two roles. It's a smaller role, but when he plays the kind of drunk actor who's his double, that's really good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And also, we can see Andy Serkis.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not the first time. Yeah, I think this is the first time we see him as a normal person.
Fairly no person.
I know he'd been in stuff before, but it was his first widespread movie, and he's really good at it. He had been Gollum, and then the year before this, he was in King Kong. I guess he was kind of a dual part in King Kong. You see him for a second, but this is the first time where it's he's not actually mostly just. Himself, and he's great as Ali is his character.
I mean, Andy Serkis for the most part, he's only been a couple of movies where he doesn't play a character actor in this or a stereotype 13 going on 30 is kind of a stereotype of a gay guy, but
up until Claw, you hadn't really seen him in non-low.
But even Claw is a stereotypical character, not stereotypical, but an outlandish. Character, but for this one,
he's more reserved.
He's reserved, exactly.
But he's he's kind of like a contemporary Lon Chaney Jr. That's what he is. He's just one of those. He's a character, a great character actor.
Which is it's awesome to see him. He's fantastic in all those, but it's kind of a refreshing thing to
it's nice to see.
Cool.
Just like those old monster movie actors. Yeah. They were always they were Mummy in this one, they were Frankenstein in that one, and then they always played a monster, and then finally when you get to see them, they get to shine, kind of thing. That's Andy Serkis now.
Yeah, exactly. Just all around, I would say, and I gotta mention Wally Pfister, the cinematographer. He does almost all of Christopher Nolan's stuff. Shout out to him because this movie looks amazing. Even though it's a period piece, it doesn't. It's Victorian England. It doesn't feel like it. Like it's, I mean, it is. It's a look, but it doesn't feel like you're watching like Downton Abbey, where they're like, indubitably, you know, like it just feels like you're watching real people. You're not watching like some old stuffy play. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we move on to why we think that I feel like I had a lot to say about this movie, but before we move on to why we think that the critics not quite as popular as some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, because you know, like I was saying before, this movie it did have a smaller budget. I think it was around $45 million, and it made 110 worldwide. So it was
Christopher Nolan's.
Yeah, but
especially Christopher.
But that's the thing. Yeah, this was like the last smaller budget Christopher Nolan movie. Like after this came out between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
After The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan just got ratcheted up to that next level where all of his movies now are just like hundreds of millions. They're just gonna like they're all the money, you know, is thrown at these movies, and they're just huge productions. So this is the last kind of smaller one he did, and the critics just kind of like thought it was meh. 75%, you know, 1 out of 4 critics didn't like it. The only one he had that's the worst critical rating is Interstellar, which is
fucking weird.
Actually,
Interstellar's amazing.
I do love Interstellar. But
I love Interstellar more than The Prestige, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Why do you guys think that this movie just didn't really connect with people?
Well, for one thing, the main thing out there is that it came out about right around the time, or maybe like a little bit after the Illusion.
Yeah, it came out within
that's where the big thing between these two come out.
I think a lot of people got confused, or they were like
weren't
trying to pick
confused,
favorites.
but then it's also
some people
like,
some people do, because I'll say, oh, the Prestige, and they're like, oh, is that the Edward Norton one or the Hugh Jackman one?
Yeah, that's true. But also, like, did it come out after
it was
it was like literally right around.
It was
literally right
Illusionist. I want to say it came out in maybe it was like late summer, and this one came out in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by that time, like, people were like, oh, another.
Yeah, and they were both like
movie?
magician movies set in Victorian England,
Yeah,
in like
exactly.
the turn of the century, like almost the same exact time frame in the same exact place.
And for me personally, on that subject, like, while I do enjoy the Illusionist and stuff, I personally prefer the Prestige more than the Illusionist.
Oh yeah, the Illusionist is just kind of an interesting, like, pretty by the numbers romance.
Yeah.
There's nothing to write home about it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But I think so that kind of like hurt it in a way. You know, by this point, Christopher Nolan was still kind of like, not that like he was known for. He was just known for Batman Beginning, so he's not the Christopher Nolan that we know of today. So that might have costed him a little bit, possibly. But I feel like it comes down to mainly, for me at least, and what my general like understanding of things is that it has to do with the confusion around the Illusionist and it being released around the same time.
I pretty much agree with that. Like, I honestly think that's why, because I feel like every year there's always, I call them clone movies.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty much the same thing almost every time. I mean,
this year we had 2 Fire Festival documentaries.
Yeah, there you go. There's
like Dante's Peak and Volcanoes.
Dante's Peak,
Ants in a Bug's Life.
Yeah. There was the fucking. What's up? There's like 2 Cinderella movies or Snow White movies.
Yeah.
There was like all that. Like it always happens.
It always happens.
And it just and I think people were just like, because I heard The Illusionist got like rave reviews.
I think it got around the same kind of like Rotten Tomato score.
Really? Because I heard nothing but great things about The Illusionist, but I thought it was super pretentious. Like people made it seem like, oh my god, you need to have watched Casablanca and all these fucking movies to understand it. And I'm like, why? Who fucking cares? It's just one of those where like. That one I think got a little bit better reviews, so people go, why watch another one?
See, I agree with you guys with that stuff, and the only thing I can wonder is this. Did the whole Tesla part have anything to do with people's reviews? Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy that part, but I'm saying where everything is kind of based in somewhat of reality in this movie, till you get to the part where Tesla makes the machine and all of a sudden there's clones.
See,
and I wonder if, I like that part, but I'm saying, I wonder if that hurt them with the critics where they go, well, all of a sudden, where does this come out of? Even though it's a cool idea, and it's cool in the movie.
But I feel like it works because I'm not trying to do it, but I feel like it works because it's like if anyone could make a cloning machine, it would be Tesla because he has like all these patents that nobody even fucking knows about.
And that's what I'm saying. I just wondered if because if I look at the movie, like let's say objectively, just looking at it as a story and everything, The only part that you can go where
Where
it's a little
that's kind
different,
of like a break.
where you're just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if a critic's really like,
let me
they nitpick, I wonder if that was one of their nitpicks.
let me read a review that it got that was bad. Because let's try and figure out really dig into why this movie got not so great reviews. It's by Joshua Rothkopf from Time Out, and it says the Who's Blinking Whom mind games make for compelling fun, but once the presto moment of the prestige is revealed, you're left with nothing but shattered illusions.
You can tell that fucker took
Yeah,
all night to write that.
Yeah.
No, but because you know what, I guess it can make sense where they feel the letdown, in the sense of maybe Hugh Jackman has a machine, and that's really cool, but when you find out that the guy's trick was just his twin brother, maybe that's a letdown.
Yeah, but I think for us, it's like the simplicity of like that. For me, that adds to it because it's like where Hugh Jackman had to go out and like in the outlandish, like it was all came down to a simplicity.
Yeah, honestly, I think that critics do a lot of times want a simple to follow movie, and and now Christopher Nolan is known as a kind of complex guy, and when he does complex stuff, they get it. But like this was before Christopher Nolan was like a really known entity, and they were just like, oh, these twists and turns. And I honestly do think this is a movie that gets better and better the more times you see it. So if you just see a movie once and the critics just write a review, it's not going to be necessarily as good as us, looking at this movie 13 years later.
And that's the thing. If The Illusionist did come out before, and the story was, like I said, very linear, very simple to follow, very whatever, they're gonna, since it's so close to the next one, they're gonna, in their back of their minds, even though they won't want to use it, they're probably gonna still judge it by what they saw the last one. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if the Tesla part, maybe if the brother just coming out, and guess what, it was just a twin. If those things compared to, obviously I haven't seen The Illusionist, so I don't know what's talking about.
It's fine.
It's
But
fine. It has a twist, but
the twist is kind of just like, yeah, okay, duh.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe because they saw that and they were like, well, this one's more based.
Yeah.
But it is more easier to follow.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what I'm
easier to
saying.
follow.
Where they go with this one and they go, oh, this one, like I said, critics are weird. They're a fickle thing. You never know when they're gonna like something or not.
Finding our first theme of all these movies, but by doing this being our second one of that, it kind of comes at a time where the critics were not as well, not thought out, but open-minded to certain things.
That's typically the biggest reason why underrated movies don't have well, because they're usually ahead of their time. They're usually something that critics don't understand. Because like critics typically always kind of they always look behind. They never look ahead. They're always like, okay, what has been done before? I want to see it done differently. But that's usually how it is. They're like, I want to see something that I've already seen, done slightly different, or something that got me emotionally charged like this did. But if you throw a brand new idea in, they're like, oh, this sucks because it doesn't follow these set of rules that cinema has already set down,
Now, how long after this did Inception come out? Because
Inception
I
came
feel
out
like
4 years after this.
Okay, so because I feel like that's the next Christopher Nolan movie that could be compared to that had this big of complex.
Yeah, because Inception came out kind of after The Dark Knight, and Christopher Nolan was seen as this visionary, game-changing director.
Yeah.
But even Inception compared to this one, Inception has.
Inception is pretty it's complex, but you can understand it.
Yeah, and it's got the twist that it has. How can I put it? Inception was way easier for me to digest at the end of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I said, like where I was heading with this about the good, the bad, the this, the that, the this, the that, where this leaves me a little bit more charged. Inception didn't. Inception left me at the end with some kind of maybe hope. Because obviously you interpret the ending the way you want, right?
Yeah.
You spins the thing and then you just go, what? But it gives you somewhat of an easier thing at the end for yourself to see. Obviously everybody's got a different opinion on how did it end? Was he in? Was he out? Was he what?
Yeah.
But it's not the same as this, where you can obviously we all see it differently, or you guys see it the same and I see it different. But in that one, no matter how you see it, you feel comfortable that you're in.
Yeah. Yeah, like Inception, is a movie that benefits from a rewatch, but not to the level that The Prestige does, where everything is recontextualized. Rewatching The Prestige a second time is a very different movie than The Prestige the first time. Whereas Inception, you become like, okay, I have my theories about this and this and this, and I'll think about that when I'm rewatching it. The Prestige, you're like, oh, that's what this was. That's what this was.
And I think Inception as well, you can relate it more because it's about dreams. Everybody dreams.
Yeah.
Everybody has weird dreams like that. So
And that's another movie that's another movie that's about making movies.
That's a funny machine.
Exactly. Except like Elon Musk.
Yeah. So yeah, I think if this movie would have came out later,
Tesla, Elon.
Yep, there we go.
There it is.
So yeah, I think you guys are right. If this movie would have come out later in Nolan's career, then it would have.
Just as long. You know what? If it would have came out a year before or a year after The Illusionist, because I'll be real, I feel that that's what that.
It was. I think that was the biggest skill.
It was too close. It was too close, and it's always going to happen whenever, like you said, those clone movies. Yeah. Whenever the two movies, whichever one comes out first, it's gonna make you have a predisposition whenever you see the second one.
Yeah,
because like especially going back to the Snow White ones.
The Snow White ones, yeah.
The second one was better.
Which one?
Mirror Mirror.
Yeah.
So it was a fun freaking movie.
The Snow White. Wait, no, Mirror Mirror.
Snow White and the Huntsman.
Oh, that was horrible. What are you talking about? No, that was so bad. Snow White, Snow White is a joke in that movie.
I know because that's
horrible. It's such a cheesy dumb movie. Mirror Mirror. The Snow White and the Huntsman is fine. It's just kind of a whatever action movie. Mirror Mirror is like
makes no
not
sense.
It's bad comedy. All right, well, that's for the next podcast. But so you guys see this movie's reputation changing as it goes along? I think it already has.
I think it already has.
I think it's gonna get the best it's gonna get.
Because I think a lot of people haven't seen it, but I think it's a movie that people are always like, I've heard that's good. I heard that's good,
yeah.
And people are finally starting to realize that it's not The Illusionist. Because for a long, I don't hear that as much as I used to. Where they're like, which one was that? Was that the one with Paul Giamatti? No, it's the one with Michael Caine. And I don't hear that as much as I used to for the first maybe 5 years after it came out.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to continue, where it's going to kind of more people are going to see it, especially as Nolan for the first time he got nominated for Dunkirk. He's going to probably get nominated for more stuff. People are going to look back at his older movies, including The Prestige, which is very accessible. It's got all these big movie stars in it. So
yeah, it's like Memento. I mean, everybody was like when Batman Begins came out, Memento, and he did another one. I forgot what it was called. But Following, yeah. That one, those two, as soon as Batman Begins came out, they're like, yo, this Chris Nolan guy, I saw that Memento movie, and that kind of became this,
Yeah, but Memento was fucking lit.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I didn't hear about Memento until Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Honestly, if, Dark Knight came out and then Prestige, Prestige was
exactly.
I didn't even know that he did Memento, because I saw Memento before I saw Batman.
Yeah.
Memento was the shit.
Yeah. Alright, well, I guess, that about wraps it up, guys. Mm-hmm. We have been the Undercast Company. Fred and Alan, we've got you guys at District 6. Where can people find you guys?
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
YouTube, of course.
District, just look us up under District 6.
No I.
Yep.
DSTRCT 6.
And then Ariel Ortiz, Nerd Incorporated.
Yeah, you can find Nerd Incorporated on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Yes.
And I'm Derek Duff. You can find me on Facebook under Derek Videos and Podcasts, or on Instagram, Derek's Photos. We work together. We're the Undercast Company. You can find us on Facebook as well. Email us undercastcompany@gmail.com. If you have any questions or if you guys have any suggestions, we'd love to hear them. If you guys have a movie you think is really underrated, tell us about it. And also, if you guys could give us a review on iTunes, give us 5 stars. That really helps the podcast get noticed a lot. It's a really big deal, but we're on iTunes and Spotify, Google Play, all the places you can find your podcast. So check us out. Thanks, guys.